It is the aspirations. See, the preamble talks about justice, three types of justice has been envisaged in the preamble: social, economic, and political. Social justice is to be achieved through Articles 15, 16, and some directive principles of state policy. Economic justice is to be achieved through Articles 39, clauses B and C, and political justice is to be achieved through some fundamental rights and Article 326. So you see that these articles will be discussing in detail in the coming classes. So three types of justice has been envisaged in the preamble. Then when we talk about liberty, the preamble talks about liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Liberty of thought and expression has been mentioned in article number 30, article 19, clause 1, sub clause A, and belief, faith, and worship, articles 25 and 26. मॉनिटर काम नहीं कर रहा है, नहीं बोल रहा है ना? इस साइड ऐसे कर लो आप लोग ना, चेयर ऐसे कर लो, चेयर आप लोग जो बैठे हो ना ऐसे कर लो, हाँ कोई दिक्कत नहीं, या यहाँ फ्रंट रो पे चेयर लेके आ जाओ। हाँ हाँ, और क्या इसमें क्या है, फ्रंट रो पे चेयर लेके आ जाओ, इसमें बैठना है, तुम्हारी क्लास है, इसमें क्या है? हाँ, ये तो एक व्यवस्था बनाई गई है सहूलियत के लिए। आज वहां पे दिक्कत चल रही है कमर, और इस साइड और कर लो, ये भैया बैठेंगे इधर, इधर आ जाओ, इधर आ जाओ, यहाँ पे सामने आ जाओ सब, हाँ बैठो यहाँ पे कोई। आ जाओ, तुम भी आ जाओ, कंफर्ट आ जाओ, इधर आ जाओ, इधर आना है तो इधर आ जाओ चेयर ले, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। हाँ तुम लोग को दिक्कत हो रही तो इधर आ जाओ कुर्सी लेके, यहाँ बैठ जाओ, चेयर लेके आ जाओ, कोई बात नहीं। हाँ इतना स्पेस तो है ही ना, मेरे को चलने के लिए तो इतना बहुत है स्पेस। So the preamble talks about liberty of thought and expression, which is mentioned in Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A, and belief, faith, and worship is under Articles 25 and 26. Now, here certain other things that we need to know. यहां से बैठ जाओ, हाँ कुछ नहीं, बैठो जैसे कन्वीनियंट लगता है बैठिए. अब now here we may be asked about the understanding of the term liberty. That is what we basically understand by the term liberty, or which of the following statement is correct. So certain statements I will tell you regarding liberty. You can write as note. Note number 1. Liberty means absence of restraints. Absence of restraints. This is the concept of negative liberty. And the classical liberals, the liberals of the 17th century, when liberalism had started, at that point of time, they were having this view. And the classical liberals were of the opinion that all restraint, qua restraint, is an evil. All restraint, qua restraint. Restraint means restriction. Qua restraint, all restraints, qua, any type of restriction is an evil. And this was the period when the state was considered as a necessary evil. The state as a necessary evil. Why the state was considered as an evil? Because the state used to put restrictions on the freedom of the individuals. Why it was considered as necessary? To maintain law and order. That is regulation of the behavior of others. So this was the concept of negative liberty, absence of restraint. Then another, that is note number 2, we can write here. Presence of opportunities. Presence of opportunities. This is the positive concept of liberty. This is the concept of a welfare state, that the state will provide the opportunity, those conditions where an individual can enjoy his freedom. We had discussed the concept of capitalism, and therein we had discussed that Karl Marx had challenged the ideology of liberalism. Why? Because there was inequality. So when liberalism was challenged by Karl Marx, so at that point of time, basically, it was this negative concept, the concept of a negative state. That is, the state is a necessary evil. It is, the liberty will mean absence of restraints. There will be no developmental role of the state. So when this type of liberty was challenged by Karl Marx, at that point of time, the liberals also changed their viewpoint, and they changed their mindset from negative liberty to positive liberty. So here, this concept is freedom from the state. Here, it is freedom through the state. Freedom through the state. So the state, through its constitution, will provide those conditions in which the individual can enjoy the freedom. That is the concept of a welfare state. Now, in the prelims test, if the statement is that liberty means absence of restraint, then absence of restraint will be the correct answer. But if we will have this absence of restraint, presence of opportunity, then presence of opportunity will be the correct option. The logic here is that when we talk about liberty, when we say liberty means absence of restraints, it cannot be a complete idea of liberty, because liberty or freedom must be restrained. It must be restricted. Unrestricted freedom will lead to chaos and anarchy. When we talk about freedom, what we say, my liberty to extend my arms ends where the other person's nose begins. If I ask you to stretch your arms, you will not be able to stretch your arms. Why? Because you are sitting with your friends. The nose of your friends will be hurt. So our freedom to extend our arms ends where the other person's nose begins. So when we say absence of restraints, absence of restrictions, it cannot be a complete meaning of liberty. Liberty has to be restricted. That is why we will have this idea as the appropriate definition or the meaning of liberty. So we will have to develop such an understanding. It is a PYQ that I discussed with you. And the UPSC in its key had held that presence of opportunities will be the correct option, and this is the logic that I gave you. A student who has half-heartedly read political science, he will encircle absence of restraints because that is taught. But those who have developed an understanding of the concept of freedom, the concept of liberty, then obviously the presence of opportunities will be the correct option. So you see, in the college we teach both these things. Absence of restraint, that is the concept of negative liberty. When this concept was challenged, because of this concept the state did not interfere in the developmental work. So no industrial policies, no labor legislations. So this ideology was challenged by Karl Marx because it led to exploitation. And then the liberals who came after that, they changed their viewpoint that no, through the constitution, through the laws, we will be providing opportunities to the people. So the concept of welfare state. Such type of questions will be asked in the prelims examination. Then law and liberty are not opposed to each other. Law is a necessary condition of liberty. Another interlinked statement that can be there is without law, there will not be liberty. No law, no liberty. Now, here also if you see, that is, without law, there is no liberty. Now, such understanding based questions will be asked in the examination. So students sometimes ask me that, sir, we'll have to read the whole jurisprudence also. No, it's not like that. A basic understanding is there. Some people feel that if there will be no law, then we will be able to enjoy the freedom the most. There will be no red light. Okay? There should be no restrictions, will not be wearing helmet because these are restrictions. It is not like that. If there will be no law, then only the powerful, only the strong will be able to enjoy life in the society. You may have heard the concept of Matsya Nyaya. What is this concept of Matsya Nyaya? The bigger fish eats the smaller fishes. So, then not only this, Darwin had also held the survival of the fittest. So, if you say it will be survival of the strongest, we will not be able to move on the road if the law is not there. There is a fear of law also. So, law is a necessary condition of liberty. If there is no law, there will be no liberty. Such type of statements will be there from liberty, understanding based question. This will also be there, that which of the following is the concept of liberty as mentioned in the preamble. Then thirdly, the preamble talks about equality of a status. Yes. Basically, it completely depends. When we say freedom, liberty, we use it interchangeably. Liberty is considered as a more negative term, whereas freedom is considered as a positive term. Freedom to do something. ये चीज है. So it is the word, but simultaneous, we can say synonymously, we can use it. There is no harm in that. We enjoy our liberty, we enjoy our freedom. Now, the preamble talks about liberty of status and of opportunity. Liberty of status has been mentioned in article number 15 and of opportunity has been mentioned in article number 16. Now, if someone will ask you that what equality means, then whenever we talk about equality, equality means absence of privileges. So, the best explanation of the concept of equality is absence of privileges. That is, no one will be getting a special privilege or special status in the society. That is the concept of equality. So, such statements may also be there in your examination. Which of the following explains the term equality? So, absence of privileges will be the correct option. So, whether you are rich, whether you are poor, whether you are male, female, it hardly matters. There should be absence of privileges to any section of the society. Then, apart from it, we have got another term, that is fraternity. Fraternity is the concept of universal brotherhood. That is the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, we all are the sons and daughters of the same soil. This is the concept of fraternity, universal brotherhood. So you may have seen the logo of G20, and this concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam was mentioned there. So it means the concept of universal brotherhood. Basically, if you see what the preamble says, and to promote among them all fraternity, ensuring the dignity and unity and integrity of the nation. So when we say fraternity, it is one of the most crucial terms that we come across. And you know why secularism has not been successful in India? Because we don't have this concept of fraternity in this country. We feel that, oh, he is a Muslim, he is a Hindu, he is a Sikh, he is a Christian. So basically, the fellow feeling is missing in this country. That is why the problem of national integration is there. We may be united in this country. Administrative unity may be there, but integrity, it is a state of mind. So that may not be there. And not only this, fraternity is important in the sense that why we have got the violence against women, crime against women in this country, why we do not give dignity to the others. He's a rickshaw puller, he's a coolie, he's a vegetable seller. So basically, even the dignity of labor is not recognized. Why? Because we do not feel that this watchman, this guard, this vegetable seller, this rickshaw puller is a part of this society only. We all are the sons and daughters of the same soil. That is missing. That is why we don't give dignity to others, including women also. She is not my sister. She is not my daughter. She is not my mother. So this is the feeling that is there. And that is why I give importance to fraternity the most. Because if fraternity is not there, then obviously unity and integrity will not be there, and dignity will also not be given to the others. Some of us, even to the rickshaw puller, we say bhaiya, we say uncle. That is our, we can say, the tradition that we have got from our family. But many of them, you may have seen people, they do not give respect to others. So this is missing in the country. So that is why the preamble says, and to promote among them all, fraternity is the first word that has been mentioned. So if fraternity is there, then we will be giving respect to the dignity of others, and then unity and integrity will be assured. So these were the noble words which are there in the preamble, and it talks about the philosophy of the Constitution, that what type of provisions are there in the Constitution. So this was the continuation of the last class. So this was all that we needed to discuss in the preamble. Another question from the mains point of view, you can write it. One general question you can write from the preamble that you need to prepare. Bring out the philosophy of the Indian Constitution as enshrined in the preamble. So here basically you will have to talk about the philosophy of the Constitution. So first of all, you will have to say that the noble words which are there in the preamble, they explain the philosophy of the Indian Constitution. and then you will have to elaborate the noble words which are there, and then in paragraphs you need to talk about it. You just, or not firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly. In paragraph, in continuation you need to write. For example, you should start that India enjoys sovereignty in the sense that all the decisions of the state are taken by the government based on its national interest. So your work is over. It was on 15th August 1947 that India became a sovereign country. Then after that you need to change the paragraph. And then in continuation you need to write that the word socialist added by the 42nd Amendment Act shows the resolve of the Indian state to achieve the objective of a welfare state. The directive principles of state policy aims to, some of the directive principles of state policy aims to achieve the end of socialism. Then the type of socialism that India adopted is Fabian socialism, and we want to achieve socialism through parliamentary laws. Your work is done. Then the word secular, also added by the 42nd Amendment Act, it means equal treatment to all the religions. Some of the provisions of the constitution like articles 15, 16, they aim to achieve, article 326 aim to achieve the end of secularism. Not only this, articles 25 to 28, they provide for freedom of religion as fundamental right to all the people living in the country. Then the type of democracy that we want to have is indirect democracy or representative democracy. The government is elected in regular elections, and we have got universal adult suffrage as the basis of elections for the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha. We have got multi-party system, rights and liberties are enjoyed by the people. So basically, and then after that, republic, the head of the state is an elected one, making India a republican country. And then after that, you need to talk about these aspects. Justice, where it is mentioned in the constitution. Liberty of thought expression, article 19 clause 1 subclause A. Belief, faith and worship, 25 and 26. So basically, you see that we need to write it, and then finally you need to conclude. Thus, the noble words which are there in the preamble, they contain the philosophy of the constitution. But it should be in continuity. There has to be a flow. What I have seen is that the students generally write equality and then they start writing. They write sovereign and then they start writing. They write socialist. It is not a answer to be written by a schoolboy, to be a schoolboy or a school student. Basically, we are matured. So there has to be continuity in your answer. Such type of practices have to be there. Then your answers will be good from the examination point of view. Whatever I have said that may be there in the recorded lectures. तो एक बस थोड़ा सुन के ना उसको लिखने का प्रैक्टिस करोगे हो जाएगा. ठीक. Then this was the continuation of the last class. Now coming to the next topic that we need to decide, need to discuss today, it is part 1 of the constitution. The union and its territory. There are 4 articles in part 1. We need to develop an understanding of 3 articles. Article 1 says India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. India, that is Bharat, shall be union of states. Now here comes your first question from the prelims point of view, that the Constitution of India declares India as, the answer will be union of states. Nowhere in the Constitution the word federal, federation or quasi-federal has been mentioned. So you may be thinking that why the term union of states has been used. If you remember, when we were discussing the concept of federation and confederation, we had discussed this aspect, that in the minds of our constitution maker, what was going on? They had the American system in their mind, and basically America was the result of an agreement among 13 British colonies. And the idea that we get when we hear the word federation, that an agreement between the units, and in an agreement what happens is that the units, they have the right to secede, they can secede, but in India the units cannot secede. That is why the word union of states has been used. So you can write the explanation. The Indian Union is not the result of an agreement among the units or the states. Full stop. The states in India have been created as per the law of the country, or as per the law of the land, mostly because of administrative convenience. Full stop. As the states have not created the union, I repeat, as the states have not created the union, they have no right to secede from it. Secede, S-E-C-E-D-E. No right to secede from it. Full stop. The summary of Article 1 is, the Indian Union is indestructible. The Indian Union is indestructible. So we cannot destroy the Indian Union. That is why if any state wants to secede from India, then the central government deals it with iron hands. Suppose tomorrow Uttarakhand will say will not be a part of India. Then Uttarakhand will be asked that you have created India or India has created you. Jharkhand will be asked whether India has created you or you have created India. So you have not made an agreement that let us make India. It is written in the Indian Constitution how a new state will be created, and according to that process, you have been created. You have no right to secede from it. This is, we can say, the summary of article number 1. Then you can write as note the territory of India. ऐसे जैसे I have written, you can write like this also. The territory of India consists of the territories of the states, the union territories, and such other territories as may be acquired. So when we say territory of India, we are talking about the map of India. So in the map of India, you will find the territories of the state: Haryana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Chhattisgarh, Manipur, Sikkim. Then you'll also find the territories, that is union territories: Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Chandigarh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and such other territories as may be acquired. So if we acquire any other territory from other country, that will also be there in the map of India. For example, we had signed a treaty with Bangladesh and some of the enclaves were incorporated in India. So basically such other territories as may be acquired. If India acquires the Pak occupied Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, then obviously it will come under this category. Such other territories as may be acquired. It is only for the sake of example. Nothing the teacher wants POK to be. The country is not being managed well and you want more and more territories. घर में जितने लोग हैं, you are not able to manage them properly and you are thinking of bringing new members. And there is a harm also. Even Aristotle has also said that there is a harm when many people from the other parts, they will come to your country, they will have more expectations that can lead to revolution in the future also. They can start comparing, they will have expectations, and if you will not meet the expectations, that will be detrimental for your country also. People of different culture will come, so they will try to compare. So the negative aspects are also. So don't feel that because I just gave it for the sake of giving example only. Don't be emotional. So from the examination point of view, 3 questions. First, that the Constitution of India describes India as, the answer will be Union of States. Then the territory of India consists of, and then there can be another statement that the summary I told you, which of the following statement is correct? India is an indestructible union. This was article number 1. Then coming to article number 2, Article 2 authorizes the Parliament. Article 2 authorizes the Parliament to admit into the Union, authorizes the Parliament to admit into the Union or establish new states on such terms and conditions, on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit, as it thinks fit. Article 2 is of no use for us. It is only for the sake of continuity I told you the power to establish or to admit into the union new state. But what is missing in article number 2 is how that can be done, how a new state can be established. So that is why if we talk about article 2, it just authorizes the parliament that you can do this. But there is another article which explains it in detail, that is article number 3. Article 3 authorizes the parliament to form a new state, to form a new state. Basically, when we say form a new state, it can be by clubbing together two states or two or more states. It can be by taking some areas from one state, some areas from other state. It can be by bifurcating the state also. The new state can be created. So it has been, the parliament has been authorized to form a new state. Secondly, increase the area of any state, then diminish the area of any state, diminish the area of any state, alter the boundary of any state, and alter the name of any state. So here parliament has been authorized to do these things. Now here when we analyze article number 3, article 3 is generally related to the formation of a new state, how these things can be done, how a new state can be formed, or how the area of the state can be increased, how the name of any state can be changed. The process has been mentioned in article number 3. So for us, the process is important. Now, before I discuss with you the process for the formation of a new state, you also need to know that how a law is made in this country. So we need to know the process also. Then we will be able to understand how a new state will be created. You see, first of all, whenever the government decides that we will have a law on this particular subject, then the concerned ministry, it prepares the draft of the bill, the draft of the law, that is known as a bill. So the draft of the law is prepared, that is known as proposal, or it is also known as bill. So the concerned ministry will prepare the bill, draft of the bill, and it is not that the minister will take that bill and will present it in the parliament. After the draft of the bill is ready, then the cabinet needs to approve it. Cabinet is the highest decision making body of this country, which is headed by the prime minister, and the cabinet will approve the bill. So approval of the cabinet will mean that now it is a government bill. It is the responsibility of the government to get it passed. Then after that, it is presented in the parliament, either in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha, by the concerned minister. How it is passed in the houses, we'll be discussing it under the topic of the parliament. So this is a general idea how a bill is to be introduced, how a law is to be made. Now coming to the creation of a new state. Suppose a new state is to be created by bifurcating West Bengal. West Bengal and Gorkhaland. Suppose Gorkhaland is to be created in the northern part of West Bengal. Now, how this state will be created, how Gorkhaland will be created? First of all, you see, the decision has to be by the central government. The principal decision that yes, we will have a new state. The demand can be from anything. That is, it can be a political demand, it can be a resolution of the legislative assembly, or it can be a demand of the people, that is the popular demand can be there. So the demand can be from any aspect or any background, but the decision in principle has to be taken by the central government that we will have a new state called Gorkhaland. After a decision is taken, then the draft of the bill will be prepared. Bill क्या होता है? Bill is the initial stage of a law. So after the bill is passed, then only it becomes a law or an act. So the draft of the bill will be prepared. It will be termed as West Bengal Reorganization Bill, and the year will be written. Reorganization. It is being reorganized. And who will prepare the draft of the bill? The Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs will prepare the draft of the bill. After the bill will be drafted, the bill will be presented to the cabinet. And in the bill, basically everything will be there in detail. The name of the states, then their capitals, then how many members will be there in the legislative assemblies of each of the states, if there will be a legislative council or not, how the assets will be distributed between the states, then which districts will be the part of this state, which district will be the part of this state. Everything will be mentioned in the State Reorganization Bill. After that, the cabinet will approve it. After that, the cabinet will approve it. After the approval of the cabinet, what we had discussed, regarding an ordinary bill, that it has to be presented in the parliament. But here, such a bill will not be directly presented to the parliament. The bill will be first referred to the president. So the president's recommendation will be required. So the bill will be there with the president for recommendation, but the president will not arbitrarily recommend that I hereby recommend the bill to be presented. Before recommending the bill, the president will send the bill to the West Bengal state legislature for its views. So the president to send the bill to the concerned state legislature for views. Not consent, views. And this view means whether they want or not, it has to be given back within a specified time. Within the specified time. And suppose 1 month has been given to West Bengal state legislature. So after the lapse of 1 month, it will be assumed that West Bengal state legislature has given its views. And after that, it will be presented in the parliament. After that, it will be presented in the parliament. And in the parliament, basically, simple majority will be required. Another important thing that I will tell you is that suppose in the parliament, the bill undergoes some changes. For example, in the original bill that was sent to West Bengal Legislative Assembly, it was mentioned that 10 districts will be carved out from West Bengal and Gorkhaland will be created. So here, suppose the change is made by the parliament that 12 districts will be carved out from West Bengal and Gorkhaland will be created. This bill may not be sent to West Bengal again. Means the parliament can amend the bill, but it may not be sent to the state again. And the parliament means both the houses need to pass the bill by a simple majority, and after the president's assent, a new state will be created. It will be notified in the Gazette and a new state will be created. So this is how a new state is created. So you just need, we are not supposed to mug it up. Not supposed to mug it up. Just you need to imagine that the Ministry of Home Affairs, and within a ministry we have got different departments also. For example, in the Ministry of Home Affairs we have got the Department of the Affairs of Jammu and Kashmir. We have got the Department of Internal Security. We have got the Department of Official Language. We have got the, we can say, Department of Border Roads Management. We have got the Department of States. So the Department of States, it prepares the budget. We can say this type of bill. So imagine that some officers are there in the Home Ministry. They will be preparing the bill. After that, imagine that your Prime Minister along with the cabinet rank ministers, they are sitting and they are discussing it and they will approve it. After that, imagine that it has been sent to your president and the president will send it to the West Bengal Assembly. Imagine that the West Bengal Assembly is discussing it. It will give its views, yes or no. It hardly matters. Even if they say no, then also the bill will be presented in the parliament. If they will not say anything, after the time lapses, then it will be discussed in the parliament. So only for the views the bill will be sent, not for consent. Now, sometimes the students ask that, sir, why the consent is not important? Why only for views? Because whenever a new state is created, you will read the articles in the newspapers that it is against federalism because the will of the state is imposed on the will of the central government is imposed on the states. But you say that our constitution makers were not useless people. And those 2-3 scholars who write something in the newspapers, they are the most brilliant people in the world. It's not like that. They are the most scholarly peoples in the world. It's not like that. Our constitution makers, they deliberated on it. We need to understand the Constituent Assembly debates for this. And they discussed that within the states also there can be regionalism. There can be localism within the state also. You see, in most of the states we have got such type of tendencies. You talk about Odisha, the people who belong to this Cuttack area and the people who belong to Sambalpur area. Obviously, they use different type of words for each other. Then, apart from it, if we talk about your state Bihar also, Mithilanchal is there. Oh, I am from Mithila. You not say Bihar, Mithila. I am from Bhojpur. So basically, you have got such type of local tendencies. If we talk about Uttar Pradesh, the people living in the western part of Uttar Pradesh, people living in the eastern part of Uttar Pradesh, people living in the Bundelkhand area. So basically, everyone have got their own cultural identity also, regional identity also, that can prevail at some point of time. The people of one part of the state may be ignored by the part which is in majority in your Vidhan Sabha. So, the resources may not be diverted well for the development of all the areas. So, that is why the central government felt, means the Constituent Assembly felt that let the central government decide on it. And our constitution makers were not wrong here. We saw what happened in Andhra Pradesh. I'm talking about the United Andhra Pradesh. In the United Andhra Pradesh, we had got the Telangana, we have got coastal Andhra Pradesh, and we had got the Rayalaseema area. And most of the MLAs were from the coastal Andhra and the Rayalaseema areas. Telangana is a resource-rich area. So, the resources were coming from Telangana, but Telangana remained backward. Farmers were committing suicide in Telangana, and the resources were being diverted for the development of the Rayalaseema area and the coastal Andhra Pradesh. And that is why the demand for Telangana came. So you see here that if it would have been the wishes of the Andhra Pradesh state legislature, they would not have allowed Telangana to secede from it, or to be a separate state. And the state legislature of Andhra Pradesh, they had given a negative view regarding it, that we don't want Telangana. Similarly, if you talk about the state of Jharkhand, Bihar and Jharkhand, they were together. Today also, the train is known as South Bihar Express. The train which goes to that part, it is still known as South Bihar Express. Even though it goes to Jharkhand, now it is going to Madhya Pradesh also. So, that South Bihar, it was rich in resources. Jharkhand, that area, the state that we see today, but it was underdeveloped. The fodder scheme had taken place in that South Bihar only. That is why the matter is sub judice in the Ranchi court only. It was United Bihar. So basically, if it would have been the wishes of the state, Laloji would never have allowed Bihar being bifurcated into Bihar and Jharkhand. They are getting lot of things from there. So the thing is that here, that is why the views, you can give some views if possible. Chalo, the parliament, if it is good, rational, it will be accommodated. Only the views, because in the states also we have seen localism, we have seen narrow regionalism. That is the reason. So after the views to the parliament. So this is the process for the creation of a new state. This is the logic why only the views, not the consent, will be required. So you want to write the process also, you can write it. The draft bill for the creation of a new state, is prepared by the Department of States. Department D will be capital. States में S will be capital. Department of States in bracket you write Ministry of Home Affairs. Ministry of Home Affairs. Next. The bill is to be introduced in either house of the parliament. In either house of the parliament. But only with or only on the recommendation of the president. Only on the recommendation of the president. Next. But before recommending the bill, the president has to refer the bill to the legislature of that state for expressing its views within a specified period. Underline views. Next. Before I proceed further, one thing I'll clarify, that where 2 states or 3 states will be involved, the bill will be sent to the legislatures of the 2 or the 3 states. If one state is involved, to one state. If 2 states are involved, some areas from this state, some areas from this state. Suppose if Bundelkhand is to be created, so some areas will be taken from Uttar Pradesh, some areas will be taken from Madhya Pradesh. So the bill will be referred to the legislatures of both the states. Then next, after the lapse of the time frame, specified by the president, comma, it is held that the bill has been passed, sorry, the views have been expressed by the concerned state legislature, by the concerned state legislature. Full stop. After that, the bill is to be introduced in the parliament. Next, in the parliament, even if the bill undergoes, in the parliament, even if the bill undergoes a large change in content, a large change in content, 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 comma, it may not be referred, it may not be referred to the concerned state legislature again. It may not be referred to the concerned state legislature again. Full stop. The parliament has to pass the bill by a simple majority. The parliament has to pass the bill by a simple majority. And after the president's assent, assent, assent मतलब होता है सहमति. After the president's assent, a new state is created. A new state is created. So let us revise it. First of all, who will decide that whether a new state will be created or not? Central government. Very good. Who will prepare the draft of the bill? Department of States, Ministry of Home Affairs. Very good. Then after that, the bill will be first sent to the president for recommendation. President will refer the bill to whom? To the concerned state legislature, whose name is to be changed or which is to be bifurcated. And whether the views of the state legislature is binding on the parliament or not? No. Very good. So the views of the state legislature not binding on the parliament. Then which majority will be required in the houses of the parliament? Simple majority. And president's assent, and a new state will be created. So it is not a rocket science. हमेशा ध्यान रखना, it is not a rocket science. So you'll have to dramatize the things in your own mind. If you read it and you try to underline it, you will not be able to understand many things. The union government has taken a decision. The bill has been drafted. Okay, the president will recommend. Then before recommending, the president will send it to the state. The state, imagine Mamata Banerjee and others sitting in the legislative assembly. They are saying no, some are saying yes. And then after that, the 14 days, 1 month time is over. It will be assumed that you have given your views. After that, the parliament, Imagine Lok Sabha passing it, Rajya Sabha passing it, President signing it, a new state is created. So basically, you need to develop such type of ideas, or we can say you need to dramatize, think of it. There is, when we say reading, reading is not about reading the book only. You need to develop such type of ways of reading. It is how we need to read. So, iska, and basically in the preliminary examination, the question will be, which of the following is correct regarding the creation of a new state? So if you have developed an understanding in your mother tongue, you will be able to encircle the correct option. There is no need to mug it up. Then if the president does not give his assent on the bill, then state will be created or not. You see that whenever we talk about the president's assent, as it is an ordinary bill, the president has got three options. First of all, the president may give his assent, or he can say that I am withholding it, or he can return the bill for the reconsideration of the parliament only for once. If the bill is again passed by the parliament, then the president is bound to sign it. He cannot withhold his assent. That is one thing, the bookish thing. But coming to another aspect of it, it is on the recommendation of the president. This is the political aspect. It is on the recommendation of the president that the bill was introduced in the parliament. Why he will not sign it? Why he will not? For example, if I am the president and I have recommended that this bill should be presented before you, you consider it. And if you people have passed it, why I will not sign it? So, Shivam, it is not only what is written in the books. Basically, here you'll have to be practical also. I have told you both the aspects. So, this is how the state will be created. Is it clear to all of us? Okay, it's all right. Now, when we talk about article number 3, what is the summary of article number 3? The summary is that the states can be destroyed at any point of time. At any point of time. They are at the mercy of the central government. So, here you can write as note. The summary of article 3 is, the states in India are destructible. The summary of article 1 and 3 India is an indestructible union with, बच्चे हैं ऑनलाइन? देखना वो मेरे से कंप्लेन ना करें कुछ. वो सोचते हैं कि मैं ही कल्प्रिट हूं. अब वो लेक्चर लोड नहीं हुआ, सर लेक्चर लोड नहीं हुआ, आप जवाब नहीं दे रहे हैं. वो सब सोच रहे कि वेलकम बैक. ये ऑनलाइन वाले तुम लोग कहाँ चले गए थे? तुम लोग के चलते मुझे क्लास रोकनी पड़ गई. गलत बात बेटा. अगली बार से तुम लोग ये सब जो 1 घंटा 14 मिनट ये निकिता पांडे और ये सब क्या करने लगे तुम लोग? हाँ बताओ, मैं कब से बोलने लगा, अचानक देखे तुम लोग सब, मतलब ऐसे मास बंक नहीं करते हैं तुम लोगों को। हाँ ठीक है। और श्वेता चतुर्वेदी, तुम तो कहाँ चली गई थी? क्वेश्चन भी नहीं पूछे, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। अरे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को फर्क पड़ा, देखो सर इतने देर खड़े हैं कि अब ऑनलाइन वाले आएंगे, अब ऑनलाइन वाले आएंगे तो सर पढ़ाएंगे। हाँ, और आप लोगों को बोलते हैं एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। अरे मैं ही तो यही था यार, मैं कहाँ जाऊंगा बताओ? चल जाता तो आ जाता। हाँ, यही हूं अभी तक। चलो हाँ, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बुराई नहीं करना ऑनलाइन वाले बच्चे ने, तुम लोग को हमेशा गायब कर दिया जाएगा। हाँ, ये ध्यान देना। ठीक है। सब लोग वहीं पे बैठे रहो जहां पे थे। चलो, तो we were discussing article number 3, and we had discussed that the summary of article 3 is the states in India are destructible, and article 1 and 3 the summary is India is an indestructible union with destructible states. So here you see that the union is indestructible, but the states can be destructed. This is the summary. So we were here when there was, because of a technical reason, we were not able to continue the class. Now, coming to the another aspect of this part that we need to discuss. You see, whenever a new state is created, or whenever the name of a state will be changed, there has to be an amendment in the constitution. Two amendments have to be made. The first amendment will be in schedule number 1. In schedule 1, the name, ये मैं लिखवाऊंगा, अपने पहले समझा देता हूं. So whenever a new state is created, there will be an amendment, first in schedule number 1 and second in schedule number 4. In schedule number 1, what is there? क्या है schedule number 1 में? The name of the states are there. So suppose Gorkhaland is created. Suppose Gorkhaland is created. So here the name of Gorkhaland will be mentioned. So there is an amendment here. Then what is there in schedule number 4? Very good. The representation of the states in the Rajya Sabha, that is how many members will be there from which state in the Rajya Sabha, that is there. So here you will have to include Gorkhaland, that from Gorkhaland these many members will be there, and West Bengal will also be changed, because the seats have to be, we can say, shared between Gorkhaland and West Bengal. So there has to be amendment in schedule number 1 and schedule number 4 if a new state is created. Clear? तो कौन कौन से शेड्यूल्स में अमेंडमेंट होगा? शेड्यूल नंबर 1 एंड 4 में. ठीक, ये लिखा हुआ है आर्टिकल नंबर 4 में. This is mentioned in article number 4. So you can write it. Article 4. Article 4, clause 1. Article 4, clause 1. Holds that a law referred to in Article 2 or Article 3, in Article 2 or Article 3 shall contain such provisions for the amendment of the first schedule, for the amendment of the first schedule and the fourth schedule as may be necessary, as may be necessary. और भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, बट इतना हम लोग को जानना है कि देयर विल बी अमेंडमेंट इन टू शेड्यूल्स, कंपलसरी होना ही होना है, in schedule number 1 and schedule number 4, and where this is written, this is mentioned in article number 4 clause 1. Then next you can write article 4 clause 2, article 4 clause 2 holds that such a law not to be deemed, D-E-E-M-E-D, deemed or considered to be an amendment of the Constitution, to be an amendment of the Constitution for the purposes of Article 368, for the purposes of Article 368. देखो, this also I'll explain it. You say that whenever a new state is created, we will have amendment in schedule number 1 and schedule number 4. Now, here, if any law is added, any word is added, or it is repealed from the Constitution, the process which is mentioned in article number 368 is to be followed. Even if you want to remove a word, if you want to add a word, so we need to follow the process which is mentioned in article 368. Means, first of all, the bill will be introduced. It can be introduced in either house of the parliament. Both the houses of the parliament has to pass the bill by a special majority, that is not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting plus the absolute majority of the house. Both the houses need to pass it, and then the president will sign it. Done? This is the process for amendment of the Constitution. But here you see, it is also an amendment in the Constitution because the word Gorkhaland has been added here. Here, the representation has been changed. Representation of Gorkhaland has been included. So here also the Constitution has been amended. But here, it is automatic inclusion. Separate article, a separate amendment bill is not to be passed for this purpose. This is mentioned in article number 4 clause 2 that such an amendment is not to be considered as an amendment for the purposes of article 368. Technically speaking, it is an amendment, but the process which is mentioned in article 368 will not be followed here. It will be automatic amendment. Automatic. अब आप बोलोगे sir, what is the relevance of this particular article? If this article would not have been there, then people would have gone to the Supreme Court. Why the name of Telangana has been mentioned here automatically? Why article 368 was not followed? अभी तो if you go कि देखो the name, तो बोला कि it is mentioned in article 4 clause 2 that the process which is mentioned in Article 368 will not be used here. It will be an automatic one. तो ये आपके आर्टिकल 368 में जो लिखा है उसे फॉलो करने की जरूरत नहीं है. ये ऑटोमेटिक, जैसे ही आपका आर्टिकल 3 पास हुआ वैसे ही यहां पे अमेंडमेंट हो जाएगा. सो इट विल बी एन ऑटोमेटिक अमेंडमेंट. These were the theoretical things that we needed to know in part 1 of the Constitution. Now you say that when India got independence, at that point of time, when our constitution makers were framing the constitution, the question that was there before them was that how they will be writing the names of the states in the first schedule. Because in the first schedule, the name of the states are there. So how we will be writing the names of the states? So our constitution makers, what they did, they classified the states into 4 categories: A, B, C and D. The British provinces, the princely states, ऐसे करके 4 categories were there. But the problem was that some of the states were too large, some of the states were too small. Then not only this, some of the states were very much developed, some were not. Apart from it, the major problem was the linguistic aspect. In some of the states, 3 or 4 languages were spoken. So how that state will be governed in the future? So no doubt the Constituent Assembly, it wrote the name of the states, it classified the states into 4 categories, but in the Constituent Assembly only, there was a general agreement that as soon as possible, we need to think that how the states will be reorganized after the commencement of the Constitution, because this is not going to be permanent one. अभी तो क्या है, the princely states are merging, so we are writing the names. But what next? So what the government of India did in 1948, ये भी मैं लिखवाऊंगा तुम लोगों को, पहले समझ लो. In 1948, a commission was constituted, headed by Justice Dhar of Allahabad High Court, and he had to give the recommendation, that is whether the states should be reorganized on the basis of language or not. Dhar commission held that no, language should not be the ground for the reorganization of the state. So Dhar commission was not in favor of linguistic reorganization of the states. It said that other aspects can also be taken into consideration. Then in the same year, in 1948, an internal committee of the Congress was constituted to look into this matter. That was the JVP committee. J for Pandit Nehru, Sardar Patel, and Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. So it was an internal committee of the Congress to look into the feasibility of the linguistic states. JVP committee also said no, no linguistic states. But they were politicians. They said the matter will be looked into if the demand comes. So the demand came in 1953. In the Telugu speaking areas of Andhra Pradesh, of Madras, in Madras, in some areas Tamil was spoken, in some areas Telugu was spoken. So in the Telugu speaking areas, there was a person, his name was Sri Ramalu. He went for a hunger strike for 56 days. 56 days of hunger strike, the result is declared. What will be the result? The death of the person. So Sri Ramlu died. But the central government succumbed to the pressure of Sri Ramlu's death, and in 1953, the first linguistic state was created, that was Andhra. Andhra is the first linguistic state. Now, after that, the other states also started demanding that we also want to be created on the basis of language. Then, the government in the same year, 1953, December, announced the creation of, or the establishment of, the States Reorganization Commission. And this States Reorganization Commission, it was headed by Justice Fazal Ali, then consisted of K.M. Panikar and H.N. Kunjru. So, this States Reorganization Commission, which gave its report in 1956, it recommended that the states should be reorganized on the basis of language as well as administrative convenience. So, in 1956, the States Reorganization Act was passed and we saw the states on the basis of language. So, this is how we got the states which are there in the contemporary times. Your heading you can write linguistic reorganization of the states. Now, here you can write it. The Constituent Assembly had classified the states into four categories. A, B, C, and D. First, in the next point you can write the integration and merger of the princely states was purely an ad hoc arrangement, ADHOC. Ad hoc means temporary. An ad hoc arrangement, and there was need for reorganization of the states. There was need for reorganization of the states on a permanent basis because of haphazard growth haphazard, H-A-P-H-A-Z-A-R-D, haphazard growth of the provinces, comma, disparity between various states, and the multilingual nature of the states, Next, in 1948, the Dhar Commission was appointed. Dhar Commission, D-H-A-R. Dhar Commission was appointed by the central government to examine the case for the reorganization of the states on linguistic basis. Full stop. The commission recognized the importance of the reorganization of the states on linguistic basis, but attached more importance to historical, geographical, and economic considerations. Full stop. It favored reorganization of the states. On the basis of administrative convenience, rather than linguistic considerations. Then next, December 1948. The Congress constituted a committee of its members which is popular as JVP committee. The members were ये बोर्ड पे लिखा है, आप लिख लो। J for Pandit Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru, V for Vallabhbhai Patel, Sardar Patel, and P Pattavi Sita Ramaiya. Next, the committee rejected the idea of reorganization of the states, idea of reorganization of the states on the basis of language but held that the problem may be re-examined in the light of public demand. In the light of public demand. Next, in 1953, Andhra was created as the first linguistic state. Andhra was created as the first linguistic state. गलती से भी आंध्र प्रदेश नहीं लिखिएगा, ठीक है ना, आंध्रा था, आंध्र प्रदेश इट केम इन 1956, ठीक है ना, उसके पहले आंध्रा था. सो अगर क्वेश्चन आएगा विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग वाज द फर्स्ट लिंग्विस्टिक स्टेट, so Andhra was the first linguistic state, not Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh will not be the correct option. Then next, in December 1953, the States Reorganization Commission was appointed by the central government. It was headed by Justice Fazal Ali. Members were, and the other members were K.M. Panikar and H.N. Kunjuru. Board pe it is written. H.N. Kunjuru. So, going by the name of the chairman, it is also termed as the Fazal Ali Commission. So, sometimes you will find it is written Fazal Ali Commission. So, it was the States Reorganization Commission only. Then next point you can write here. The commission recommended to do away मतलब खत्म कर देना, to do away with the fourfold classification of the states as provided as provided in the original constitution, in the original constitution, and recommended the reorganization of the states on linguistic as well as administrative basis. Full stop. The States Reorganization Act 1956, the States Reorganization Act 1956 provided for 14 states and 6 union territories. 14 states and 6 union territories. The states were Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Bombay, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Madras, Mysore, Orissa, Punjab, West Bengal, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. So these were the 14 states which were created in 1956. How many of you belong to these states? Then coming to 6 union territories, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Tripura, Manipur, Lakkadive, McCoy, and Amindivi Islands. ये Minicoy. ये लक्षद्वीप हो गया है अभी. So Lakkadev, Minicoy and Amindivi Islands. So these are the 14 states and 6 union territories which were created. In the examination, you need to know the name of the states, in which year these states were created. And in the prelims examination, the question can be that you arrange the states in the chronological order of their creation. And the name of 4 states may be there, and you will be asked to arrange them in the chronological order. And the name of 4 northeastern states may be there. So you see example here, Assam will be number 1. So if Assam is there in the option, so wherever Assam is there, it will be number 1. Rest of the states you need to know when they were created. So from any book that you have, whether it is PM Baksh's book or the Constitution schedule number 1, कोई भी आप schedule number 1 से, you need to have an idea that when the other states were created. In the state PCS examinations also such questions can be asked. Now, how many of you are from the linguistic states? How many of you from the linguistic states? You are from Maharashtra. Okay. Then गुजरात, ठीक है. देन ऑनलाइन में तो काफी स्टूडेंट्स होंगे फ्रॉम वेस्ट बंगाल, असम. नहीं, पंजाब. अच्छा, ठीक है. So we have some students, you people and our online students. Yes, Gujarat, Punjab, West Bengal. Some of you, बिहार तो लिखो ही नहीं. बिहार, महाराष्ट्र. बिहार तो वो है ना हिंदी के बेसिस पे है ना, तो लैंग्वेज लिंग्विस्टिक में नहीं आता वैसे वो. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, समझ गया सब. बिहार से हो, कोई इसमें नहीं है. हाँ, ठीक है बेटा, ठीक. हाँ, so we have students from all the parts of the country here in online classes. So now the question is, what is the advantage of linguistic states? If there are some advantages of linguistic states or not? Yes, there are some advantages of linguistic states. So heading likhna, advantages of linguistic states. ठीक. Yes. First, it fosters, F-O-S-T-E-R-S, it fosters, F-O-S-T-E-R-S, fosters sense of cultural unity, among the people of the state, अच्छा लगता नहीं when people speak the same language, when you go there. So it gives a cultural unity, it fosters a cultural unity among the people. तुम भी गुजरात को यहाँ पे किसी को दें तो अच्छा लगता होगा नहीं, कह रहे देखो ये गुजरात का है. हाँ, ये है. ठीक. Then secondly, before 1956, English was the language of administration. Which is not understood by majority of the population. Majority of the population, full stop. After 1956, the administration of the state was carried on was carried on in the language and by the majority of the population, understood by the majority of the population. So we can call it as administrative convenience. Now people can understand the language of administration. And then next, thirdly, it has led to the development or growth of regional regional languages or vernacular languages, or vernacular, VERNACULAR, or vernacular languages. Some of you may also be knowing the language which is not a language of your state. Which language you know? ये झारखंड वाले तो बंगला जानते होगे तुम लोग, है ना, इसीलिए। अच्छा, ये महाराष्ट्र वाले गुजराती भी जानते होंगे, थोड़ा बहुत नहीं जानते हो? थोड़ा बहुत जानते हो। हाँ, उड़ीसा वाले बंगाली जानते होंगे। हाँ, तुम कहाँ से हो? उड़ीसा से हो? कहाँ से हो? मेरा गांव भी उड़ीसा में है। अच्छा, तो तुम बंगला जानते हो? थोड़ा बहुत जानते हो, ठीक। किस पार्ट से हो उड़ीसा में? ईस्ट कहाँ? हाँ, मेरे को सब मालूम है, ये बॉर्डर पे है ना, रायगढ़ तुम्हारा। हाँ, इस साइड संबलपुर से आगे जाने साइड से है ना। हाँ, अच्छा, वो जम्मू कश्मीर से हैं, सुहेल। Now here if you see that basically the local languages are promoted. Now what can be the disadvantage of linguistic states? बोलो बोलो, रीजनलिज्म हो जाएगा। अच्छा, एक, चलो ठीक है, लिख लेना डिसएडवांटेजेस। First, it has become an hindrance मतलब रुकावट होता है, hindrance in the way of growth of a national language for the country. देखो, national language is must, but an impression should not go in the country that this language is being imposed on us. ये भी नहीं जाना चाहिए, मैसेज नहीं जाना चाहिए. But there is a need for a national language. English cannot be a national language. If we feel that if we know English and we can survive everywhere in India, it is not possible. Even in South India also you cannot survive only by knowing English. People in the rural areas or even in the urban areas may not be knowing English. So English cannot be a national language. So a language has to be developed. Then secondly, you can write, it has led to the growth of localism or narrow regionalism. देखो, as a student of politics, for me regionalism is not bad. Regionalism has got different we can say manifestations. It can be the demand for special status. What is wrong in that? If a particular state wants a special status, there is no wrong in that. Then if a state if a part of the country wants a statehood, it is not a big deal. It's not bad also. If a state wants, if an area wants the status of a union territory, it is also not wrong. So these are the manifestation of regionalism. These are not wrong. The only demand that cannot be accepted is secession from India. That cannot be accepted. But why I have used this word narrow regionalism or localism? It is manifested in the political slogans that we may have come here. Ab, that basically when we talk about narrow regionalism or localism, the political slogans that we see or we have heard, like Mumbai is for Mumbaikars, the concept of Maratha Manush. I said political slogans. Political slogans. So common man has nothing to do with these slogans. So such type of slogans, basically what you see is that these are political slogans, and this is narrow regionalism, narrow, that is localism, that people of only this state will apply here, will come here for competitive examinations. Such things we have seen, with tendencies we have seen. These tendencies are not good. The Fazal Ali Commission was aware that such type of narrow regionalism or localism will be there. So the Fazal Ali Commission had recommended that at least 1/3 officers of the All India services, they should be from outside the state. So it was a recommendation of the Fazal Ali Commission. And the Fazal Ali Commission had also recommended that at least 1/3 of the judges of the High Court, they should be from outside the state. So these recommendations have been accepted also, and we have officers from the other states also in the All India services, and at least 1/3 of the judges of the High Court, they are from the other states also. And by convention, even the Chief Justice of a High Court, he is from the other state. It is by convention, but the rule is that at least 1/3 of the judges, they should be from outside the state. Now, another thing, the last thing I need to discuss it, बीच में डिस्ट्रप्शन हुआ इसलिए we will not able to, but आज टॉपिक ये वाला मैं फिनिश कर देता हूं. So if someone will ask you that what can be the justification of smaller states, because there can be demand for smaller states here and there. देखो, on two grounds the demand for smaller states can be justified. First, if it is for administrative convenience, and developmental needs. These two aspects. And if the demand of a state is only for the purpose of, we can say, political purposes or cultural purposes, it should not be accepted. Enough of states on the basis of language. Enough of states. Now the dialects are there. So how many states we will have? And the dialects change even if you go 1 kilometer from a place. The dialect will change, the tone will change. So basically what we see here is that the justification of the states cannot be if it is on political grounds, on cultural grounds, but yes, if the state is very large, it is a mismanaged state, so we can have the need. And if the area is underdeveloped, it is not, we can say, a stepmotherly treatment is being done by the leadership, so obviously that can be a need for the new state. There has been a demand for Ladakh also as the state, but that also cannot be accepted, because earlier the people of Ladakh were talking about the status of union territory. They got the status of union territory. Now they are saying that they want to be state. So basically, because of administrative convenience and strategic needs, obviously let Ladakh be a union टेरिटरी. पॉपुलेशन भी बहुत कम है ना, कभी जाके देखोगे लद्दाख का एरिया जो है बहुत स्कैटर्ड एरिया है, और वहां पे पूरा ना आपको सिर्फ अपने बॉर्डर्स ही हमारे हैं, सो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट अपने पास ही रखे तो दैट विल बी अ बेटर वन. So these were the things that we needed to discuss in part 1 of the constitution. We had the target of completing half of the part 2 also, but when yes, everything is not in our hands, so but yes, we completed our discussion on part 1 of the constitution. In tomorrow's class we'll be discussing part 2, and then we'll start discussing part 3 of the constitution. We'll stop here for the day. आई एम सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब यू सर, बट आपने लेक्चर 2 के नोट्स क्यों डिलीट कर दिया? बेटा मैंने कोई डिलीट नहीं करता. हाँ, मैं सिर्फ पढ़ाया और मैं घर चल जाता हूँ उसके बाद. ये मैनेजमेंट को आप लिखा करो, ठीक है? हाँ, कि आप लोग ये डिलीट करते हो, ये नहीं डालते हो वो से. हाँ, मैं सरेंडर कर दिया, मैं टीचर हूँ, ठीक है ना? चलो.